Hello everyone, I'm Sharpedo43 once again bringing you all another Wi-Fi match for Pokemon Sword and Shield. My opponent is going to be MrChabry, and this is going to be an OU match. So yeah, MrChabry is somebody that we've actually played before in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, particularly in the draft format. We played once in the NGDL and we also played twice in the EBA. But here in Sword and Shield, this is going to be our first match and we're going to be playing outside of the draft format. And yeah. Also, I think I mentioned in the match with Chad, the first match that I had, that I was going to eventually battle MrChabry too, honestly. We were supposed to do a Let's Go match before this match, honestly, in Sword and Shield, but what happened was that I kind of just didn't have time to play through the entirety of Let's Go. Well, actually, I didn't have time to make a team for Let's Go, because I already finished the game, obviously. I just didn't have time to make a team, obviously. So I just asked them, you know what, I don't have time to do the Let's Go match like I wanted to do. So why don't we just do the Sword and Shield match, just to, you know, at least fulfill that part of the whole agreement and whatnot. But and he was cool with it, so that was actually good. It took me a while later though to still get that match going though. I think it took me like a couple weeks more just to make this match happen for once. But here we are now, and yeah, we're gonna get started in a bit right now. As you can see, this is the team that I have. This team is actually really old. Like, I actually got this team around, I think, late December or early January. I don't remember, but I got it somewhere around that time. And yeah, it's kind of good to know that it's still usable today, honestly, because otherwise it would have been kind of annoying if I had to reconstruct a team. It's actually kind of difficult to find teams these days, honestly, so I'm actually glad that this team was still able to hold up today. But anyways, this is my opponent's team. He has a Bisharp, Cinderace, Zeraora, Seismitoad, Venusaur, and Mew. I honestly wasn't expecting the Zeraora or the Mew because I kind of was thinking that we were still playing in the pre-home meta as opposed to the post-home meta, because right now we're in post-home territory, but it's just that I haven't been able to keep up with the meta, obviously, just because I've been way too busy. Not to mention I've been way too preoccupied with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, particularly with the ICPL and the CBDL leagues that I was doing, that I thankfully finished now. So yeah, here I'm just debating on what I should lead with, obviously. Especially because this team is actually a little unpredictable right now, because I don't know, like, even though the mons are familiar, I don't know what they like to do in Sword and Shield, obviously, because the meta is different now. So I think ultimately here I ended up just leading with Dragapult, because looking at his team, it outspeeds just about everything unless it's something is scarfed, and I could just hit it really hard with a specs boosted Draco Meteor. I meant Draco Meteor, damn it. But yeah, so here we go. We're gonna finally get this match with MrChabry over with. I actually wanted to play MrChabry again, honestly, Loki, just because I saw he was like one of the only other active people in the community still doing Wi-Fi battles, so it's kind of nice to still be able to battle him once more here. He's also one of the last surviving members of the Snack fam, because I think as far as I'm concerned, everybody else is kind of like dead at the moment, so it's just like, damn, I must suck, honestly. This game really like just turned everybody off. I mean, it already turned me off, obviously, but I'm just still here doing some matches at the very least. And I'm personally okay with that, honestly. But anyways, yeah, so digression aside, he's going to lead off with the Cinderace, as you can see. I lead off with Dragapult, obviously. And I'm just going to go for the Draco Meteor, because what's the Cinderace going to do? I don't think these things get knockoff, because I think knockoff has now become a much more, like, rare move to learn. Like, not a whole lot of mons get knockoff now, honestly. I think I don't know, honestly. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the meta, so I honestly don't even know what's legal or what can learn what. Basically, it's hard, honestly. This is what I don't like about getting into new metas. It's just that I have to learn the whole thing again, and I have to freaking readapt to everything. It's just so annoying. But anyways, he does switch into the Bisharp here, and I'm gonna do a lot of damage, thankfully. In fact, I did so much damage that I can actually just stay here and go for another Draco Meteor. I don't want to switch out fearing the Pursuit. It should be noted, though, that I actually, according to MrChabry, supposedly Bisharp can't get Pursuit because Pursuit was actually removed in this game, which I honestly don't get why. But either way, it was removed, and I actually stayed in because I was predicting the Pursuit. He actually said he was going for knockoff, predicting me to switch out, fearing the Sucker Punch, which, yeah, I knew that was an option as well. I just didn't know which option he was going to go for, but I did not know that Pursuit was actually removed in this game. But what do you know? Thankfully, that prediction still ended up working in my favor, because I, at the end of the day, went for Draco Meteor. But it should be noted that he was actually going to be going for Sucker Punch. He was 50-50ing around, honestly, after all. I hate those 50-50 scenarios, honestly. You just never know what's going to happen. So much uncertainty. Okay, but I think here he goes into Zero Aura now. And I'm actually debating on what I should switch in, because I do have to switch out now because I'm at -4 now. I don't want to stay in with a -4 on a Zero Aura, as that'll give it time to set up, which I don't want. I think ultimately here I end up sending in the Tyranitar because what I'm fearing is actually a knockoff. Because why else would he switch in Zero Aura? Unless maybe he has Outrage or something. But I was fearing the knockoff particularly, because knockoff seems like a much better move, honestly. But yeah, I go into T-Tar just to see what he goes for. Hopefully he actually does not go for a fighting move like Close Combat or Brick Break, which was what I was fearing here, honestly. But I just had to go for knockoff, or into Tyranitar, fearing the knockoff. And as you can see, he actually did have the knockoff, and he does knock off my Sharpedo43, which is actually bad because I know that his Mons can have fighting moves, the Zero Aura can have Close Combat, and his Cinderace can have the high jump kick, which, yeah, none of those would Tyranitar take very well. In fact, I'd probably go down in one hit, honestly, because, you know, Tyranitar is quite weak to that. But nonetheless, I'm going to just switch out here and go into Corsola. I know that this thing has freaking knockoff, but I just don't want to take the Close Combat, and as you can see, he actually does in fact go for the Close Combat, so I made the right call there in anticipating the Close Combat. So yeah, now here I end up going for the Strength Sap, particularly because I wanted to actually lower the attack, because the attack is because this Zero Aura kind of seems to hit really hard, and if he goes for knockoff here, I can still get a lot of my HP back while reducing its attack stats. So I feel like this is a good enough trade-off for me. I do lose the Eviolite, but at least I'll be able to cripple this thing's attack power so that knockoff doesn't KO me straight up, and I can continue power strength sapping until I actually get to full HP and his attack is completely neutered. That, and I can also set up my rocks as well, honestly. So yeah, here however he's actually going to go for the Cinderace actually, as I go for the first strength sap. Took me a while to get that across now, but yeah, so he switches in the Cinderace obviously because he doesn't want to give me that opportunity to set up anything, honestly. But again, Cinderace, I feel like it can't do anything to Corsola. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know, because again, I'm not familiar with a lot of this meta. But I still go for the rocks nonetheless, obviously. Because even then, Strength Sap still lowers the attack stat for Cinderace. So even if he had something, I just lowered its attack, so it's not that bad. Cursed Body enabled here for U-turn, but that doesn't matter because he's going to switch out anyway. And now here, I think he goes into Seismitoad. I could be wrong. I don't remember because it's been a while, but even though this was like a week ago, but you know me, I've been doing a lot of stuff outside of this shit, and I'm kind of forgetting a lot of things now. But yeah, anyway, so I get the rocks up here, and he does in fact go into the Seismitoad. Here, I believe I follow it up with a Will-O-Wisp because I actually want to cripple this Seismitoad to the point where, you know, I can, you know, probably take it out with something else. Also, so that if he has leftovers, that it just kind of cancels it out, obviously, so I don't have to worry about it recovering over time, basically. Unfortunately for me, he is going to have the Toxic, and he's going to Toxic Corsola, put me on a timer, basically. So this Corsola can't put in too much work for too much long, anyway. And I think I end up switching out here into the Ferrothorn after this Sandstorm finally subsides. Now here, yeah, this Poison, obviously, I have to wait for this Poison animation. And I think the Burn as well, which is, yeah, it's like, bruh, not this again, obviously, where I have to wait for these animations from Burn and Poison to kick in. Because that's kind of lame. Speaking of lame, here comes a lame mon that actually does just that, basically be lame. It's the Ferrothorn, basically. Only reason I brought this though was because I mean it came with the team that I got. Obviously, I didn't make this team, by the way. I forgot to mention that this team that I had, I actually didn't make it. I actually just found it somewhere and I just picked it up. Cause you know me, I'm just terrible at team building. I don't know how to make teams very well. But yeah, so anyways, he's gonna send in the Cinderace now, and I'm gonna switch out the Corsola because I don't want to be getting chipped down by the Poison. Honestly, I didn't want the Poison to rack up here. Oh, actually, I was switching this Ferrothorn in on the Seismitoad. Never mind, I'm a liar again. I'm just following sequences like always. But no, what happened here was I sent in Ferrothorn because I wanted to switch it in on the Seismitoad after he put my Corsola on a timer, basically. But he switched into the Cinderace here, I guess predicting the Ferrothorn to come in. So because of that, I obviously had to switch out into the Rotom. I went into Rotom just because I was kind of hoping he'd go for the Pyro Ball here, and I can take it. I don't care if I get burned because this doesn't actually have any physical moves that I should worry about. He actually ends up going for the U-turn though. giving him some switch initiative, and he ends up going into Mew, which is, again, I don't know what these Mews like to do, but after seeing the leftovers, it kind of gave me the impression that maybe this is one of those bulky Mews again, with Will-O-Wisp, Defog, and Roost, with that last move being possible. Oh shit, what the hell? Why the hell's my phone here? Get this shit out of here, bro. Jeez, fucking phone scaring the living daylights out of me. But anyway, so yeah, I went for Volt Switch here. What I meant to say was that the last move could either be U-turn or Psychic, honestly, for stab. But I don't know. Either way, I just went for Volt Switch here, and I'm just gonna send out Dragon Pult now because Choice Specs Shadow Ball should do a lot of damage, if not straight up take out this Mew, if it just so happens to be of the physical defensive variety. But here on my switch-in, he's actually gonna go for the Defog to get rid of my rocks, which means I will have to send in Corsola again to set them up again before I lose it, because, you know, I feel like the rocks can be really, really useful here in these situations where my opponent is switching out a lot. That way, it cripples his team over time, as opposed to just keeping it as is every turn, because that'll actually kind of make it so that the match actually ends before, you know, before one of us go down completely, you know. And I kind of don't want that, so yeah. Here, I think MrChabry is thinking on what he's going to do. I think I just went for the Shadow Ball, obviously, because I wanted to just get as much damage as possible. If I recall here, I think he actually goes into Venusaur, because I think that's like his last bulky mon that he can switch into. And he does. Now, what I was hoping for here, honestly, was that this Venusaur would probably be offensive, and that it doesn't take the Shadow Ball boosted by Specs and Stab very, very well. But as you can see, unfortunately for me, he actually does take it very, very well. Which means I may want to switch out just because I don't want to get Leech Seeded, I don't want to get Sleep Powdered, and I don't know. I just don't want to get, or I think I also don't want to get Toxic on this either, honestly. Like, I just don't want anything to touch this Dragapult at the moment, because this Dragapult, I think, can put in work if fully healthy, basically. But I was debating on what I should switch in here. Ultimately, I decided to go into Corsola just because I do want to see if I can maybe set up the rocks and also get the Will-O-Wisp off on this thing as well, because I do want to burn this Venusaur so that it doesn't just sit here taking recovery from Black Sludge. Also, fun fact, actually after he went for Synthesis, yeah. Fun fact, he actually, when I saw this Venusaur on this guy's team, I actually thought that this was actually going to be Mega Venusaur, but I just remembered that this is Sword and Shield and not Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, so I didn't even have to worry about Mega Venusaur. I just thought it was a thing still for some reason. But I don't know, man. That's just how I am sometimes. I just, like, I still have the mindset of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in my head, thanks to the fact that I was doing a lot of Wi-Fi battles for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But yeah. So anyway, here he's gonna go for the Giga Drain. Curse Body kicks in right here, and this is actually gonna come in handy for a bit. You're gonna see later in this match. But here, I think here I misclicked and actually went for Hex instead of the Will-O-Wisp, actually. I was trying to go for Will-O-Wisp so I can actually burn this thing and not put it on a timer, since it would actually take forever to take this thing down. But just to cripple it, because you can't Toxic it this after all. And I don't have anything that can actually paralyze that Venusaur, so I actually do have to come up with something that I can actually do to get at least some residual damage off of it. And Will-O-Wisp was the only way, honestly. So yeah. But yeah, unfortunately I misclicked Hex. It's because I'm trying to play fast so that way the timer doesn't run out. But this ended up just biting me in the rear in the process. Nonetheless, I'm going to at least try to get my Stealth Rocks back up, which is good. Because if he brings back that Mew, I can just cripple it, honestly, with Will-O-Wisp, which is what I think I plan going for here right now. Actually, never mind. I never actually go for the Will-O-Wisp because I'm already crippled as it is. And here, I'm just about to let it go down. I go for Will-O-Wisp now, but I'm not going to be able to get it off, basically, because the Venusaur outspeeds, obviously. So I'm not going to be able to touch it, basically. He's going to finish me off with a Sludge Bomb, which was unfortunately enough to take out my Corsola. But because he's cursed or curse bodied right now with the Giga Drain, I decided to actually go out of my way to just send out Tyranitar here, just to go for crunches, because I think that's like the only way I can take out this Venusaur, honestly. Crunch it and hope for a possible defense drop, and then like cripple it that way. Leave it weakened to the point where maybe Dragapult can actually take it out with Shadow Ball now. Or maybe Draco Meteor if it really calls for it. I don't want to have to go for Draco Meteor just yet though, because it'll put me at -2 and then I have to switch out, obviously, which is a bit of a telegraph strategy, honestly, if I do say so myself. But yeah, so like I said before, I'm just gonna send out the Tyranitar. The Sandstorm kicking in is also pretty good to just help cripple the Venusaur for a bit. Now, since I couldn't get the burn, had I gotten the Will-O-Wisp off in combination with the Sandstorm, I would have been able to cripple this Venusaur quite effectively. possibly forcing him to go for synthesis over and over again, and I could just spam crunch and hope for him to get a Spadef drop, obviously, or not Spadef drop, a Fizdef drop. But you know, that kind of didn't work out that way, honestly. I wish it did. Maybe it could have saved time too, honestly, but I don't know. Either way, he's no longer disabled now, and I'm just going to continue going for crunches anyways because the Sandstorm is still up, and I figured with Spadef boosted from the Sandstorm because, you know, Tyranitar's a rock type, I figured maybe I can take 1 Giga Drain and probably put this thing in range for something to take it out later, honestly. So, yeah. He's now going to go for the Giga Drain, and despite the boost in Spadef from the Sandstorm, it actually still does a lot to my Tyranitar. Thankfully, not as much as I feared, but it still did a lot, honestly. But here I'm just going to go for crunch, and I think somewhere around here I get the defense drop. Yeah, it's right here. I get the defense drop right here, and I'm hoping he either switches out or just tries to take me out, honestly. Or something. Like, I just don't want him to have this thing for too long, honestly. I just keep going for crunches. I think he actually does end up switching, though, unfortunately. I think he ends up going into Mew. I could be wrong. It was either that or he let this Venusaur go down. Actually, I don't think he let it go down yet. I could be wrong. I don't remember. No, actually, I think he does switch out. Yeah, he does switch out. Yeah, it's because I have a hard time remembering. But he actually goes into Seismitoad, not Mew. I thought it was Mew for some reason, but no, it's Seismitoad. I go for the crunch on this Seismitoad. And, yeah. Obviously, I'm just gonna get some decent damage. It's not a 2-hit KO, unfortunately, because I don't even think this Tyranitar is even invested in attack. I could be wrong. I don't remember what the set was on this thing. I actually never looked because I actually made this team a while ago, so I don't even remember what this has anymore. But yeah, I think I'm still sticking to the game plan though, of just going for more crunches, just to cripple his mons, because this passive recovery on Seismitoad is no longer a thing, so maybe just keeping it weakened can be a good thing here. And the Sandstorm is still up, so I can still have the Spadef boost. I'm trying to abuse that Spadef boost from the Sandstorm right now, and it's actually working out nicely because I'm actually getting to cripple a lot of his team in the process, basically. This Seismitoad is now weakened, which is good for me. Because, well, he will take out my Tyranitar here. This thing will be in range for literally anything else on my team to finish it off. Particularly the Dragapult with Shadow Ball. So here, I think what happens here though, I think is I end up switching out the Tyranitar because I figured the Sandstorm's about to end right now because I actually don't have Smooth Rock on this. So I'm actually going to switch into Ferrothorn right now. Anticipating another Scald. I was hoping it didn't burn me because I do have physical attacks on this Ferrothorn. Thankfully I didn't get burned. The Sandstorm goes away, which was what I was expecting honestly when I made this switch. And now the plan is to basically switch it back in and go for the sack basically. Like I wanted a sack Tyranitar, but at the same time reset the Sandstorm turn so that way I can come in with Excadrill and put in work basically. Run house through his team, you know. So that's basically what I'm going to do right here. I'm just going to send in the Tyranitar now. And I'm hoping that this actually ends up working out for me. Because otherwise, damn, it just sucks. But yeah, he's actually going to send in the Mew right here honestly. And I'm like, oh. So I can't, oh well, I could lose the Tyranitar here if he has either U-turn or Aerosphere. But the goal here is going to be the same basically. I'm just going to go for Crunch to, you know, like cripple this thing. Just in case he tries to do something passive because that seems to be what he's been doing for the past couple of turns. Except not really because the Venusaur was being offensive with the Tyranitar and going for Giga Drains. And so was the Seismitoad with the Skulls. It just wasn't working out for him, if anything. But I'm just fearing that now he's going to try to play the passive game. So as a result, I'm just going to stick to the game plan and just keep going for crunches. And as you can see, he finally does make the passive play and actually goes for Roost here. I just go for the crunch because, again, I'm just hoping for that defense drop so that he actually is forced to either switch out or stay in and just lose the Mew. Or try to go for something that'll just take out my Tyranitar for a bit. Although I think here he actually is going to go for Roost, I think once more or maybe a couple times more, I don't remember. Particularly to stall out the Sandstorm turn so that my Excadrill can just come in and do something. Which is unfortunate, but I mean it is what it is. I mean MrChabry's got to do what he's got to do, obviously. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping he just doesn't, like I'm hoping he kind of just goes down or, you know, doesn't try to stall out, but I mean he could honestly, he could. So yeah, I'm sticking to the game plan though, as always, just going for Crunch because Crunch is, you know, what I need to do. Here, MrChabry is just thinking on what he can do, honestly. I'm honestly surprised he's taking this long to think though. But yeah, Roost again, and I'm just gonna go for the Crunch. I'm hoping for that defense drop, but either way, I am doing more damage than he's recovering over time, because as you can see right now, I think this drops him actually to the red, which it didn't before. So I am doing more damage, and I get the defense drop now, so he's gonna be forced to do something now, honestly, other than roosting. But yeah, unfortunately for me though, he did in fact get a lot of the sandstorm turns out of the way now though. I think I only have like 1 or 2 now at this point. I don't remember if he actually switches out or if he lets this thing go down. Oh, actually, yeah, he does let it go down. He goes for Will-O-Wisp so that this Tyranitar stops hitting a lot of his team really, really hard. But fortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately for me, this Tyranitar actually did put in quite amount of work. Jeez. And in fact, he was actually fulfilling the Sharpedo role very well by going for Crunch over and over again. Because you all know Sharpedo likes to go for Crunch over and over again until he destroys everything. This Tyranitar right now was doing basically just that, punching holes through this guy's team, which is what I wanted to see. I'm not gonna say too bad that Sharpedo wasn't in this because, I mean, Tyranitar's a cool mon too, honestly. I gotta give credit where it's due, obviously. But anyway, he's gonna send in the Cinderace now, and I'm going to, I think, switch out, because again, the Sandstorm is about to run out. Oh no, actually, I just stay in and just let this thing take me out, obviously. I think in retrospect I shouldn't have done this, but I don't know. I didn't have time to think, honestly, too much. I didn't want to waste too much time because the timer is running really, really quickly, obviously. So, but yeah, I ultimately decided to end up letting this thing go down. He is going to U-turn, obviously, so he's going to have to show what he sends in first. I think that's the reason why I let it go down, honestly, because I anticipated that U-turn, and he was going to give himself switch initiative if I just so happened to switch out, and I didn't want that. So maybe that's why I let it go down. But logically, I should have probably kept it around so that I can get the Excadrill to put in work. Because I think now I can actually bring the Excadrill as long as Zeraora and Cinderace are in here. So what I'm going to do here now that I lost the Tyranitar, because he sent in Zeraora, I'm actually going to go into Ferrothorn for a very good reason. I know this thing has close combat, and I think that's the only way he can actually do damage to my Ferrothorn. It's either that or Blaze Kick, which I actually recently learned he can get, honestly. But he's actually going to go for close combat. But what I wanted here was to actually cripple him with the Iron Barbs. And if he went for close combat, attack him with Power Whip after the defense drops, basically. And that's exactly what happens. Thankfully, I don't miss this Power Whip, and I actually just get the Zeraora out of the way. I take it out completely, which is actually cool. So the Zeraora is now gone. We only have 1 minute left of this match to finish, honestly. So basically the goal here is just to take out as many mons of his team as possible. I'm also going to let him take out some of my mons as accordingly, particularly right here. Because he's going to send in the Cinderace now, and he's just going to take out my Ferrothorn. I could have been that guy and just try to preserve this thing, just send in Rotom or something. But I didn't want to do that because, you know, that'd be messed up. Can't be messed up to my boy, MrChabry. But anyways, yeah, Pyro Ball. He's going to kick ass with that Pyro Ball. Destroy this Ferrothorn. Fortunately for me, though, I'm in the lead, though. So even if this timer runs out, I am going to probably win this, honestly. Yeah, in fact, I do win because my mons are actually much healthier than his. In fact, if he lets the Cinderace go down, his last 2 mons, which are Venusaur and Seismitoad, they're both weakened. 2, like, under 50 HP weakened mons versus my 2 full HP mons. I win every day. At least by this game's standards with the timer and whatnot. But yeah, as you can see, he's going to let me take out the Cinderace because he knows that this game is kind of lost at this point. So I'm just going to send out the Dragapult because Dragapult can actually clean up with Specs Shadow Ball here at this point. The weakened Venusaur and the weakened Seismitoad. So I just send this in basically. Plus, also the Dragapult also looks cool, and I just kind of wanted the match to end with Dragapult. Yeah, because yeah, Dragapult does look like a cool mon, honestly. I like it. I like this mon, actually. It has a pretty nice design. And it's really fast too, honestly. I really like fast mons, honestly. But yeah, he's going to send out the Venusaur, which he's not going to be able to do anything because we actually just win because the timer just went out. So yeah, that's kind of what I didn't want to happen, but it ended up happening anyways. I think MrChabry was thinking a little too much in some of his plays, honestly. But I can see why, honestly, because you do got to still play to win at the end of the day. And if you have to think for that win, you're going to do it, basically. But yeah, either way, so that's going to be the whole match for today, obviously. GG to MrChabry right there, and if you don't know who he is, I'll leave his handles in the description below so you guys can check him out. But yeah, with all that said, I think that's it. I don't know, I have a feeling I had something else to say. I don't know. I guess I could say that I'm glad I finally got this match, at least with MrChabry. I was talking about it for a while, and it's kind of crazy how it didn't happen until now. But yeah, it happened. So again, thank you all for watching this match. Stay tuned for another few matches that I have still here. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a damn good one.